Welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs, your home improvement and remodeling podcast, where the two most entertaining guys discuss the do's and don'ts in home construction and in the remodeling industry. Remember that you can nail it, paint it, or just tune into the show. How about that? Here are your hosts, Colin Shaw and Jimmy Driscoll.
What's up, Jimmy? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome.
You still feeling well?
I'm feeling much better now.
Thank
Hardly
God.
even coughing anymore. I'm just like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Actually, I was thinking of you over the weekend. I ended up finally getting sick.
You did?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
No, it wasn't
I
you.
told
I
you.
know. I can't even blame you this time.
No smooching.
Damn.
We don't smooch.
Damn.
Hey, we missed something on our intro that we said we nail it, paint it.
Yeah.
But guess what? We just found something else.
What?
Now we can waterproof it.
No.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Well, that's why who's sitting right next to us right here,
Who is that?
Mr. Greg Putney.
From Greg Putney and Associates.
That's right.
Hey, Greg. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you. Nice to have you here.
Good to have you.
Pleasure
Great
to
to
be
have you.
So we're going to learn all about waterproofing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Greg's got something against water. He doesn't like it.
Neither do I.
No.
So we're going to try to help some people here, our listeners.
Yep.
Or the biggest thing, like what's happened, we've had more rainfall since the Depression. Is that correct? That's what I've heard.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Since the Depression, and everyone's got problems with water.
Yep.
Coming in the house, on the house, around the house, green lawns.
All over the place.
Well, guess what? I bumped into Greg, and I says, man, I got to have you on the show. Because Greg deals with waterproofing, commercial and residential. But we're going to focus today mostly on residential and some new great ideas for your patio. And if you're doing some rework on your basement, whether it be on the exterior part, he's going to answer some questions for us. He's got some great material.
I'm looking forward to this.
Wonderful technology. And take a listen, and we're going to go with Greg. Well, Greg, let's introduce you. Greg, meet our fans.
Wave hi.
That's it.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay.
all 10 of them.
So, Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started and where we are today.
So I started in the 1980s working for a company in Brantford, Connecticut that manufactured roofing products.
Okay.
Also waterproofing materials called Rowflex. They're up on Route 80 near the firehouse in North Brantford, and I learned a lot because they didn't really know roofing at all, and we were bringing this product in from Italy and manufacturing it and selling it, and ultimately built a manufacturing facility on the grounds and started to sell the product in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That company was sold to a major manufacturer, and I went with that product, and I got exposed to a variety of waterproofing materials and have been in that business now for almost 30 years.
Wow. Has it changed a lot?
It has.
Yeah.
It was 100 and something manufacturers back then. There was a lot of innovation.
Yep.
Prior to 1990, everything was done with asphalt. Everything was done with hot asphalt.
Right.
Yep.
It was 90% of the market when I started, and it's probably 15% today.
Wow.
What is it now? What's the material that they use now?
A whole variety of products came about. One was the modified asphalt, which was a solidified sheet that was reinforced, and the asphalt was put on the reinforcement in the factory.
Mm-hmm.
And then single-ply membranes, which range from EPDM to PVC, became part of the market. And probably the most recent innovation or the most recent product that became popular has been liquid membranes.
Liquid membranes.
Okay.
And one of the things that my company has done is made everything available to the client, which in my case is roofing contractors and architects, in a sheet form, in a membrane, and also in a liquid form. So you can do all these projects, most of them with either liquid or a sheet membrane.
Okay. And then the stuff that you have for the homeowner, is that more decking, flat roofing, foundation? What is it that you offer to the homeowner?
Really, everything in my product line, which is commercially oriented or developed to be a commercial product, is just a better product for use in residential. So it can all apply to residential. In some cases, it could be overkill, or we can use a different product for residential, or maybe do less of a liquid membrane than we would do in a subgrade high-rise. But it's a similar application, and the same principles apply. Water's either trying to get in or trying to get out, and you've got to find a way to contain it.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So, some stuff that's groundbreaking here for me, which I'd like to share for our audience, because I got really jazzed about this. My cottage up in New Hampshire has a deck, and I'm working on having a patio space underneath the deck. Well, we know a lot of people who have decking, whether it be Trex, plywood, wood, or whatever, usually have to do something underneath the deck so to repel the water from coming down on you. And also from people coming up on top that they get, once if they enclose their porch, they have to put some kind of mosquito netting under the decking so the mosquitoes don't come up. However, today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got for you, that's right, we have a waterproof membrane that you can apply. You don't need decking. You basically would take the decking off. You could put plywood down, probably 3/4 inch.
Yep, I would say so.
Right?
Yep.
Because you're going to go 16 on center, 3/4. So it's like a flooring you'd put down. And then could it be this? Pardon me on my reach, but we've got it's this membrane that you have. This is just one color. It's a thick mill.
Yeah.
This is stuff you could lay on top of a deck. Is this right? Could you do this?
Right. So it's adhered to the deck. You use an adhesive that comes with the product.
Right.
The seams in the product are heat welded with an electric gun.
Okay.
And then the flashing details are either done with a metal that has a appropriate color to match the membrane sheet.
Right.
And you get this kind of a look, a linoleum look or a wood look. There's a variety of surfaces.
Yeah.
And it all looks like one continuous sheet of whatever.
And you get it in a sheet, right? It comes in a sheet,
Right.
If you want.
Right.
So they tell you what the size is that they need.
Right.
Yep.
So it
Okay.
comes to order for the size of the deck
Yep.
for waterproofing. You get all the accessories, the metals, and the boots or corners or whatever you need.
Yeah.
And it's glued to the deck and heat welded in the seams, heat welded in the flashings, and it looks the same continuously across your deck. And it's waterproof below and walkable on the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key too. Is like Jimmy was saying, if it's a second story deck, and you have gravel, or you even want to do a paper patio underneath or something, this actually keeps you dry,
Right?
Because it gets rid of the water for you from up
Yeah.
above. So that's fantastic.
And it doesn't tear. It's a thick mill, so you can put your lawn furniture up top. She can, like you said, she can be wearing her high heels, spiked high heels. It's not gonna puncture it. Plus, you got plywood on top, so you
Right.
got a hard surface, like you said. That's it. Now, this also comes with an edging for the edge, which matches the same color, whether it be the brown or the one we just showed. We saw that, which is very nice. It's a nice molding effect because that gets glued down, so no water can seepage that way. And my situation is grandfathered in, but the deck now goes right into the sliding glass door. So I would have to take the sliding glass door out, apply your membrane on the inside because you have some kind of application for that. But I could also then take this and flash it up against the wall, like so, basically.
Correct.
This,
Yes.
right? And however you work it, whatever the material is. So for me, that's soup to nuts, man. I'm loving this. I'm really loving this. It just saved me a lot of freaking heartache because I worry about that. The board's wearing out. I got PVC now against the deck so it doesn't come into the wood. Because it's where I'm at.
And being up in New Hampshire is never a good place to have a deck up that high.
No.
It's all snow.
So we have waterproofs above the below grade, plazas, gardens, roofing, lines. What did you say? Lines.
So probably the next evolution in the product line is going to be liquid membrane, which would do the same thing. If you had a plywood deck, you could apply liquid. It's applied from a can. It's reinforced with a fabric that you apply when you're installing it. It's coated over the top, and it can be built up in layers, which can create a walking surface as well. You can sprinkle what they call paint chips into it to make it look
cool.
like it'll look similar to linoleum. It's a little more sophisticated, often used in commercial applications. Something used in New York City where I worked for a while has the decks where you have a party environment, an outside bar or a high-end condo where they've got an outside eating area or entertainment area and then living space below. This one will give you that opportunity, and the benefit of this product, it's homogeneous. It's the feel of the roof, the flashings are all done with the liquid. It's what they call a seamless application. So it's all going to look like whatever your aesthetic surface is, whether it's white, aggregate, slip-resistant aggregate, or it looks like linoleum. So it's pretty versatile. It'll do a number of odd shapes if you have a round tub in the middle or something that you want it to waterproof.
Okay, so I'm a homeowner, and I really dig this stuff, and I want to do it. I don't know how to do it. Is there a website you learn how to do it, or do you send a representative out there, show them how to do it, or stuff like that? How does that work?
A lot of the products are approved contractor only, and that liquid membrane probably is one of them. And the reason is, this is a product called Sal Sand, It is a catalyzed material. So you have a pail of material, you mix in a catalyst. You've got about 15 minutes to work with that product.
Okay.
Wow.
And then it's hard. So you don't want to waste it. It's an expensive product if you have it hardening in the can and you didn't use it.
Right. Okay.
But it does the job very well. And we do have training places where contractors can go to be trained.
Oh, wow.
And there is a website, and there are some YouTube videos that'll show you how to install it.
Well, I'm there, man. I'm signing up for this because I would love to do this and point some of my customers in the right direction on stuff like this, because I've been asked this, by the way, quite a few times. What do we do after we put the deck up? We want to do something. We want to run the water off. We want to stay below it. Hey, now we got something. It beats that.
So the interesting thing about the Sal Sand liquid membrane is it was really developed as a flashing product originally.
Really?
And it can be used on a variety of other materials as the flashing material only. So if you're not doing the entire surface with liquid, even the PVC decking from Deck Tech that we showed earlier, you could make a detail with liquid membrane for your sliding glass door and get up underneath the sill with the liquid membrane, which is a little more manageable when you're trying to make 5 different angles at the same time, which most door sills are, and tied into the PVC. We can do that with modified asphalt, asphaltic materials, and we can do it with hot rubberized asphalt with that same liquid membrane and create a long-lasting flashing detail.
Non-slip?
Nice.
Non-slip?
We can make all these things non-slip. The PVC, the reason it's got that embossed surface is because that's made to be non-slip. That's the Deck Tech PVC. And the liquid membrane, there's an aggregate that's either applied in a coating inside the coating, or an aggregate that's applied on the surface and then coated over to seal it.
Okay.
That would give you slip resistance.
Nice.
Now, what's with this roofing now? Because we said it used to be asphalt, but it's changed over now. It's called Soprema, and this is for roofing, waterproofing wall systems?
So that's what we call Soprolene 180. It's a polyester reinforced modified bitumen material.
Yeah.
The beauty of modified asphalt is you can apply it in a number of ways. It can be heat welded with a torch. It can be applied in an adhesive that's made for the product, or it can be self-stick with a peel-off back and just be stuck down to a primer.
Okay.
The other advantage of it and the versatility is that it can be used in almost every part of the building that we were speaking of. We're talking about subgrade waterproofing, talk about roofing, even some of the air and vapor seals we would use on the outside enclosure of a building are made with modified asphalt and a variation of this product.
So this is for a flat roof?
So this is this particular product is made for a flat roof.
Yep, okay.
We make a very similar product that's used for subgrade waterproofing.
Okay.
It can be done blind side, which in commercial roofing, if you go to New York City and the buildings are built right next to each other, you wonder how do they keep the water out? Well, they put a wall up in a wood substrate, put a blind side on it and pour concrete against it. The concrete locks onto the product and the wood wall rots out over time, but it's waterproof from that blind side. That can be tied into the rest of the waterproofing, which could be a thinner peel and stick modified asphalt. And then all that can be tied into your air and vapor seals as they go up the wall on the outside of the building. Those also now are tied into your roofing products. So compatibility among all these products is important. It's important in residential as well.
Now, does that come in a sheet, or does that come in sections, or?
This is a sheet membrane.
Okay. So it can be made any size?
No, it's a specific size,
Okay.
39-inch wide. Most of them are 1 square of coverage per sheet.
Okay.
But this can also be heat welded together or self-stuck or glued together to make a complete waterproof system.
So I'm going to say to our audience, our listening audience here and our viewing audience, if you know anyone who seems to be having problems with their basement because they're leaking and they've got a problem, I just dealt with a customer right now, as a matter of fact, who had that water pressure building up in their basement, and it cracked. Their foundation cracked, and they tried to patch it, and it's still blowing in. The water's still coming in. What was the term you called it earlier?
So,
before? It's called.
What happens when you have waterproofing below the ground, below grade, is you have hydrostatic pressure.
That's it, hydrostatic
which
pressure.
is the buildup of the water in the ground, and it
Right.
creates a pressure that can push its way through almost
which it's doing on this
any
guy's
size
house.
hole. Sometimes a cold joint where they stopped pouring your foundation and they started up again becomes an opening for hydrostatic pressure to
Yep.
come in. In my opinion, the best way to solve that is to use a product that's going to be on the outside of the wall, adhered to the wall, and sometimes you would have to incorporate drainage with that, and there are drainage mats and piping that you can put in to remove the water.
Yeah, what they call a French drain or one of those.
Yeah. But the best way to do it is to waterproof from the outside, so the pressure that you're getting from the soil is pushing that product against the wall. It's not going to get through any.
What's the warranty on this stuff? Like, basically, if you were doing the basement, It's for the life of basically for the life of the house, wouldn't it be?
Well, for commercial applications, these products are guaranteed for 25 or 30 years.
Okay.
So it's a product that's going to last. The manufacturer has a lot of confidence in the materials working well. And in subgrade, there's really no way to discover, so you don't want to make a mistake and use a low-quality product.
Right, exactly. Do it once, do it right. One and done. I agree.
One and done.
One and done. Civil engineering.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about the product? I don't want to put you on the spot here, but dry lock. Are you familiar with that product that you kind of roll on the inside? People think it's waterproofing their basement.
It depends on the situation. So
Right.
Okay.
Most residential foundations, when you go to a new development, you see the black paint on the outside of the building. I sell that kind of product. It's an emulsion, and it's not considered a waterproofing. It's a damp-proofing product,
Right.
and it's really meant to keep the moisture out of the concrete so
Yeah.
that the concrete doesn't deteriorate.
Right.
Right.
It's not meant to keep gobs of hydrostatic pressure from entering your building.
Right.
Right.
One of the best examples of subgrade waterproofing I've seen is a guy who sells for Suprema, one of the companies I represent in Dubai, where they built buildings basically in the swamp below the water level. I mean, literally in ocean water pressing against the outside of the building. Very difficult to waterproof.
I would think so.
That hydrostatic pressure is the same thing that's happening at your house. You just don't see it. The dirt is there, and you still got water trying to find its way into the building. Sheet membranes on the outside will prevent that. Anything you do from the inside can be removed by that pressure. If you have enough pressure on the outside
Yeah.
of the
That's
foundation,
what's happening to that guy. Yep.
there are some products that are crystalline that you can put on the inside. You have to keep that concrete wet for a long period of time, and they're not really practical, in my opinion,
Right.
for residential.
Okay.
Right.
If it was new construction, that might be something to consider.
Right.
So if we'll have your product, if we can, we'll go over this later on after we get off the air. We'll get as much information that we can put on our website so our listening audience can look at that and take a look at it and have your contact information on this kind of stuff, because I find it very interesting.
I do too.
Because
Yeah.
we find that, Colin and I find that as a problem a lot that we catch with homes and
Leaks,
foundations.
water, absolutely.
Yeah.
In new construction, when they build, they use the damp proofing, and sometimes that's not appropriate for the groundwater level that they create when they landscape or whatever you do around the house, and that's where you guys end up with a problem that the homeowners got, and now they've got dirt there. I had a raised ranch where I dug the dirt out myself by hand and put waterproofing on the outside of the wall, and it dried out my basement.
That's wonderful.
Got rid of the moisture.
Yeah, good for
Right.
you.
So basically, with building inspectors too, would they pretty be much up to date on this kind of stuff, or they know much about it? Well, they'll do their research anyway if you did it
Because
right.
code just says damp proof.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say they're
Yep.
familiar with damp proofing, but they
Yep.
also understand it doesn't work in every application.
Right.
I make a liquid membrane called bar, which also is a spray applied or a roller applied.
Which I
product.
just saw right over here,
It's in
right?
this- It's just for
That one.
sure.
Yeah.
So you can roll that one on.
But this one can be used on the outside of concrete. Again, it's on the outside,
That kind of looks like me, Colin, when I was spraying that rock.
and that's
That guy looks much happier.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah.
it's a build of a liquid that can also keep out the hydrostatic pressure and works pretty well.
Wow. Well, that's good. That's cool. So you can use a commercial sprayer and spray that on,
Right.
right? Just like that. Wow.
So for large buildings, spraying is important. When you're doing a residential application,
Yeah.
you can roll the same product.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a small addition or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Oh man. Anything you want to add to this? Because
I think it's pretty simple. The thing in my mind that's important when you're waterproofing is compatibility with the different products you might be using, and having someone that has the knowledge of how to use those different products to solve the problem. I think I'm that guy in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I have a good group of products that I sell from different manufacturers, and what I look for is people who make their own products and have made them for a number of years, and they work. You want to know that there's a history behind what you're buying.
Okay, and where will you ship things to? Would you go all over the U.S.? Is it regional? What is it?
Well, I'm the Connecticut representative for a lot of these
Okay.
products. I go up into Massachusetts with some of them, and I do Westchester County, New York. I spent 10 years selling in New York City, and I can tell you that those experiences apply to almost everything, because there's
Really?
residential, there's commercial, there's
true.
outside balconies, there's subgrade waterproofing. Probably the most magnificent waterproofing you've seen in your life happens in New York.
No kidding. Wow.
so this, I just want to go over this one more time. Were you explaining this one before? This is the liquid that you would pour down. This is the piece you put on next to it, Is that how that works? And
So this Sal Sand product is a liquid applied membrane. It's the quick cure product we talked about before.
Okay.
And the advantage is you can do it in a number of layers to create different types of systems.
Okay.
So it can be used as a roofing material, and it often is. And in Manhattan, I think it's become the premier roofing product because a lot of the buildings that you see there, the modern buildings, have very unique angles, and there's a lot of setbacks, which are different roof levels that are pretty narrow. So you want to be able to move your product around. This comes in a can. It can be easily moved in an elevator. When you layer it in place, it can be a waterproofing, which is simply a primer with a couple of layers and a reinforcement, or you can build it to make it a parking garage. This happens to be a down ramp application for a parking garage where there's significant traffic and a lot of abuse.
Wow. Man.
So it's got a protective self-leveling compound and then the skid-resistant surface on top of that. And that's a good, pretty bulletproof application.
Now, it comes pretty thick because, I mean, if you're trying to apply it on a downslope, and the tendency would be for it to just go away.
The mill looks pretty thin. I'm looking at it this way, right? So that's kind of what
So you're looking somewhere between 90 and 120 mils just for the waterproofing application.
Yeah. Okay.
But this self-leveling mortar, which also helps in making like a plaza deck look smooth, even if it's not.
Right.
And then the walking surface on the top.
Yeah.
That's a build-up intentionally to give you more resistance to traffic.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be that thick. And in a residential application, we talked earlier about maybe cutting it back when you get into residential. That's something you could probably reduce depending on the use.
Man.
This one's not going away. That's pretty significant.
This
material.
is it. Yeah, this is great. You think it'll? Well, yeah, it is. I'm like, ooh, fire, jeez, crow.
Just give Jimmy a couple of gallons of that stuff.
Right. I'll
just
figure
let him
something
go
out.
crazy somewhere.
So, I guess I'm going to be in touch with you and figure out how to put this stuff on and try to be I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's great.
I think it's really good too. Yeah. So what? Any horror stories that have happened throughout the course of the years that you might want to share with us?
Because we always talk about horror stories when we have customers.
I think one of the commercial projects that probably everybody in the listening audience is familiar with is the Knights of Columbus in New Haven. And I was lucky enough to do the roof on that building the second time around, and it's a high wind. If you look at that application, it's pretty high wind. It's right in the front of New Haven. It's the 4-column building, if you're not familiar with it. We did the roof, and after the roof was done, and it was a difficult roof to do because of the wind load and the flashing details, which incorporated a specialized metal that was part of that era of construction. That specialized metal also came into play on the lower levels of the building, and there's a garage below the building, and we did that waterproofing of that. It had leaked apparently since they put the first system in.
Oh, wow.
And we took up the pavers that are there, which are pretty large pavers, and put a liquid membrane down on that concrete, and it was able to tie into that specialized metal, which not many other products were able to do. So we used the Sal Sand liquid membrane, completely waterproofed that subgrade level. So it's kind of an interesting application where both products came into play in a re-roof, redo application.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And a happy ending.
Yeah,
It's very happy.
and it works.
We like happy
Ta-da!
endings. Yay!
Ta-da!
Yay!
No more water.
Go, Greg.
Go, Greg.
So, Greg, how do people contact you?
So you can call me. My number's 203-530-2049.
Okay.
It's Greg Putney, LLC at Gmail is my email address.
Sweet.
And I can direct you to any of these companies if you have more, need for more information, or you want to see a video on how they're put into place or how they look when they're finished.
We should have Jimmy do the video.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
That would be good.
Too much of a smart ass.
That's another career.
Right. No, but I'm just so happy about all this stuff. I mean, it's
very
great.
cool.
It's very, very cool.
It's just
really
nice to know that there's like these different options out there.
Yeah.
It's not what we're all used to. Especially the whole deck thing on the second level. You're used to like the corrugated ceiling below. It's ugly.
Yep. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that look.
So to have something like this,
So an interesting application of liquid membrane in the Greenwich area. The bathrooms are significant, and I have a number of contractors who install liquid membrane over the entire bathroom floor.
Smart.
It's kind of like the red membrane you put in when you tile in a
So the normal way you do a shower at my house, because it's only 48 inches, you fold a piece of PVC and you put it in there, and they lay the tile in over the top, and that's the waterproofing in your shower.
Right.
But when you have a bathroom that has a pretty significant tub, and then you've got a shower that you've got to walk to, and a number of steps that go up, and there's a lot of detail, liquid membrane will do that as well. And one of the benefits of this is a PMMA material, is that it puts up with the concrete, so you can lay a setting bed. It doesn't eat the product; it's resistant, and you can put your tiles down in that. And it's actually pretty significant.
You can go right on top of that.
Right on top of that.
Wow, that's very cool. I like the idea that you waterproof an entire bathroom. That just makes so much sense.
Yep.
So much sense.
Yep. Hey, we'll get you some business. We're going to get you some business nowadays. Jimmy knows a guy.
Jimmy knows a guy.
I
We
know
just
a
met
guy.
another guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
This poor guy was probably trying to get coffee somewhere, and then you kind of harassed him, or
Well, it had to deal with water again. There was water in the house, and he happened to be there, and it was
Nice.
just like, hey, would you like to be on the show? And he was like, get away from me now.
And I said no.
I don't blame
I
him.
know.
What would you say now?
I
Hell
was
no.
chasing him down. I was chasing him down the condo. I held onto his leg. I said, I won't let go. I won't let go unless you be on the show. And he was like, all right, I'll be on the show.
That's how Jimmy and I met too.
Yeah, that's how it was, yeah.
Yeah.
We met by accident. He was on traffic light, and I rear-ended him.
Yeah.
We exchanged numbers. Now we're brothers from different mothers.
Yes. Yes. You
Right.
guys will stay in touch, I'm sure.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Greg, it was really nice having you on the show. I hope
Great
you enjoyed
having
it.
you, Greg.
Thank you guys a
We
lot.
appreciate your knowledge and your
man.
insight, and you gave us a nice little education. We appreciate that.
Yeah, very much so. I love it when I'm a dumbass on my show.
Well, Jimmy, good thing you look good.
Oh, let me tell you.
That's the important
You're looking good, but you're stupid, right?
part. Can't have everything. Man. All right. Well, everybody, we will see you next week. Jimmy,
Yay!
good to see you, buddy.
Great to see you. We're
do it
still
again.
above ground.
We are.
Yay!
Let's keep that going.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
See ya.